Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. Welcome. If this is your first time with us, thanks for coming on. If you are watching this on YouTube as a replay, it originally aired on Periscope during the week. Thanks so much for coming on. We're going to flip our camera around so we can talk with you guys better. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I told you guys yesterday, I know you can't even see me. We don't know how to do this. Maybe. I don't know. So I told you guys yesterday that I hadn't had Austin on the show all week and that he needs to come on because we're trying to be more involved together on what we talk about. I mean, we talk about all this stuff anyway, but we want to have more interaction with you guys and you guys be able to have more interaction with us. So, this is your first time with me. My name is Keely. I'm the owner of LoveFromAdventure.com. This is my husband, Austin. We blog about the marriage relationship, intimacy, marriage, and how you can go deeper with your spouse. And today we're talking about trying new sex positions. And I think a lot... Oh, somebody says, you like my Rocksbox necklace. This is the one thing I liked out of that. I didn't like any of the other jewelry. So I got to see if I can...
I want you to be honest with us for a change.
Yeah, I was so honest. I told Austin yesterday I was on that scope about the Rocksbox, and I'm showing them this stuff. I'm like, this jewelry looks cheap, or man, I don't know how to do this. I don't like this. So, and I felt bad because I got on the scope and I'd never used the service whatsoever, and I felt like I was kind of dogging it a little bit, and I felt bad because I'm like, they're probably a really nice service. I was just a little disappointed with two of the things I got. So, anyways, yeah, so you can always count on us to be honest because there's no reason not to be. So today we're talking about trying new sex positions, being adventurous in the bedroom, and Austin wants to kind of address this because he has had readers write into us and kind of share that they feel concerned about doing it. So give us some feedback.
The particular concern that I'm thinking about is, what if it is terrible? What if we try something new and it's not any good? And so one person was mentioning that we're kind of afraid to try something new because what if it doesn't work, and that would be terrible, and then it's going to ruin things and this kind of thing. So I had a couple of thoughts about it that I don't know if I've ever really said out loud in particular, but I just got to thinking about a few things in response. And then during that conversation, just had a revelation that I'd never really had before, so I wanted to share that with you. So first of all, just to back up a little bit, is that whenever you are trying something new, first of all, try something new. Okay, I would say that's the first tip. Okay, Don't be afraid to try something new, and I would highly recommend it, just because it's a good thing for your marriage, whether that's in the bedroom or not. Try a restaurant you've never been to. Try going on a particular kind of date that you've never tried before. Do new things together because you're going to grow together.
Give some experience about how you used to hate to try new food.
I don't know what you mean. I had my first, no joke, this is dead serious. I had my first salad of my life when I was 19 at her house. Yeah. I used to eat with her and her mom after church on Sundays. And one day I came over, they would have salads and I'd be like, no thanks, I'll just have the meat and the potatoes. Yeah. And then one day I was like, I want to try a pile of lettuce with ranch on it, and I don't know why. So I tried it, and that was my whole life. I was the picky eater. I didn't ever want to try anything new. I'm not particularly fond of meeting new people. Just trying a new thing that I've never tried before, and I've had to grow through a lot of that. I'll tell you what helps with that. Work with teenagers for a decade. I found myself on the top of a 20-foot diving board because I spent a whole week telling the teenagers, what was it like? You can do all things, I literally probably said, jump in, guys. And then they're like, hey, Pastor Austin, there's a 20-foot diving board. Why don't you go get on that and jump in? So yeah, I'm not the new thing guy. Let me rephrase it. I wasn't the new thing guy. Am I now?
I think you are more now, and this is actually why I wanted him to bring that up, because I don't want you guys to at all think, oh my gosh, Keely and Austin, they're blogging about marriage and sex, and so they got this all figured out, and they're the most adventurous people on the planet. No. I'm a lot more adventurous by nature than he is about things, because I just don't care. But I just don't care. I'm
that sums up
whatever.
Keely mostly her whole life. Yeah.
But when it comes to trying things in the bedroom, I have a lot of concerns about trying new stuff.
That is definitely a new thing for her. Is being the one. Is saying, hey, what about this?
Sure.
And kind of surprised me at first because it went from like none to she had this mental switch where she just decided one day because that's how she works.
I just decide. Yeah, I'm done with this, and I'm going to do this.
I'm going to do this thing that I'm going to be this kind of a person now. So she did, and yeah. But we've both kind of grown in that again. Like now I love to try new foods. And I love to
go, like, give me some of them Brussels sprouts. Bring them over here. Okay.
And I'm sitting there and I'm eating it, and I like Brussels sprouts. Who am I? But we have grown in that. And I think it's interesting that we, Love Hope Adventure, I don't know if we've told the story, but it came about one day when we were trying to pick a couple of words.
Oh, somebody says we're funny.
Yeah, to put up on our wall for a decoration project that Keely was doing, and she was like, love, and then we both said hope, and then I just said adventure. Let's put that up there, because that's what we want for our family. Not just in our marriage relationship, but for our kids. I don't want my kids to be like I was about never wanting to try new things and missing out on stuff in life. Sure. So it applies to the marriage relationship. So first of all, just do new things, okay? Try something new, and don't be afraid to go into it. One thing that you have to do, we talk about this all the time, is you have to be a team. Our constant refrain here in the house, whether it's the two of us or all five of us, is team reason, right? When we're fighting, when we're disagreeing, at some point we just go, okay, let's go about team reason. Okay, we're fighting for the same thing here. So go into new things in the bedroom the same way. Just decide, okay, we're going to try this and we're going to just embark on this adventure.
We're just going to try it, and if it doesn't work,
maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but we're going to go into it together. And I think some people do have kind of a concern of, my spouse wants to try something new, but I'm skittish about it. I'm not sure about it. What if, maybe I'm not self-confident, was it self-conscious about it?
With whole team?
Huh?
I don't understand, but they
somebody said with whole team. Was that a typo? I don't know. Try it again, or explain what you meant. But
I'm having a hard time.
But yeah, so go into it saying, all right, we're going to try this together, and whatever happens, and it's going to happen to both of us. And it's either going to be amazing, it's going to be that was a thing, or it's going to be terrible and catastrophic failure, like I say sometimes about trying something new. Sure. It's like that was terrible. Let's see.
Yeah.
We just suck, yeah.
Yeah, you just stick to the basics. Somebody says every time they try out something new in the bedroom, you just stick to the basics. Well, here's the thing about that. That's okay.
Totally fine.
And I'll tell you, one of the biggest reasons why we suggest trying something new is it gets you talking and communicating. And if you can do anything in the world to get you talking to your spouse while you're having sex, is really, really helpful. Yeah. And I think people always just think it's got to be serious. We can't say anything or do anything. Which, no.
Okay. So, which leads us into an article that I wrote just a little bit ago about the different flavors of sex.
Okay.
And one of them is vanilla. That old standby, that go-to that is the basics. And that's fine. And actually, I think that is really, really good.
Somebody says, oh, no, talking. Yes, you have to talk.
Yeah, people. And one of them was, what did I call it? I don't remember. I ended up doing ice cream flavors. I think it was
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road was like adventure, just trying something new. Tutti Frutti is what started that whole article. Tutti Frutti was silly. Oh. There is silly sex. There is funny sex. Go read the article.
Probably I need to go read the article.
You do.
I'm like, Tutti Frutti. I
don't. So yeah, somehow I ended up on ice cream as a theme.
Okay.
So I literally Googled ice cream flavors. Anyways, so go try out different things. Is it an anniversary?
Yes, happy anniversary. This is more about frequency than
and that's fine. And again, I'm saying try something new. But
talking is something new.
I'm saying, try something new, and if trying something new is not necessary or it's not working, don't feel discouraged about that. Okay, so this kind of brings me to.
Oh, you keep going. I got something.
She's got something. So try something out new and go into it as a team, saying, okay, we're gonna go in and be on the same page about this, and it's okay. What isn't going to work?
Well, he was talking about trying something new, and I just want to point out that something you can try new, if you're like, I'm not into new positions or something right now, this is one of our bedroom games. I just printed this off because I'm going to go to New York next week and give this to some people. Yes, I am the lady who shows up with sex games for people. Anyway, this is free on my website, lovewithadventure.com/newsletter. And if you are like, every time we try some new positions, they don't work. Well, this is just foreplay moves, you know.
Yeah.
And you just play it like
this came out of Keely's desire to see that there is actually something on the internet. When you
JD's laughing, and I don't know, maybe I missed something.
When you try and look up new stuff, what does every cover of Cosmo say? 26 things that will blow his mind, and you look at it, and it's like the same things, and none of them make any sense, right? So at any rate, this came out of our desire to say, okay, here's some stuff that you can actually do.
Somebody says this game. Oh, so someone's actually playing this game. You know, I probably need some of you guys to give me some reviews on this game. This is my favorite game.
Let's put that in the newsletter.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that in the newsletter and say, hey, guys, give us some feedback on that.
People would like to know about the game, some reviews. I'd love to have some reviews because, we created it, and if you guys were like, man, that didn't make no dang sense.
That was terrible, yeah. All right, so let me get myself to my point. Is that can we do that on? Okay. This was the thought that occurred to me that I'd never really thought about before. Okay, we've been married for 13 years, and it dawned on me that as a result of that, and moving forward into the future, as a married couple, you're going to have sex thousands of times. That blew my mind. Well, hopefully. And again, we generalize, okay? Yeah, so there's always the outliers and the ones that say, yes, but what about this? And I understand that, not to be insensitive to that. But in general, you're going to have sex with your spouse thousands of times. So, if it sucks one time, that's okay. Yeah. If you try something new and you're like, that was the worst thing ever, that's okay. If you're trying out, whether it be a new position or whether it be just, the game, or, again, maybe, hey, you go out on a date and you try something different and it's terrible, then, okay, because you're going into it as a team, then you can say, that was not worth it.
Okay? It's kind of like food. It's like sometimes you eat something and you're like, this is gross, but then you get something else that's good.
I don't know. Somebody said, how come you guys don't have any stupid comments? I'm assuming you're talking about people trolling our Periscope. Are you talking about
trolling Periscope? I get them every once in a while, and I just immediately block them, but...
Keely thinks that it's because of her outrageous self-confidence that, if you show up and you've got, oh, look, I hope you're reading that, you show up and it's it's a pretty girl, I don't mean you. A troll shows up and says, oh, look, a pretty girl is talking about couponing or something, and then they start getting nasty. Yeah, and then it's like, oh, I don't.
But I'm like,
let me swipe.
Come talk about sex.
Yeah, you come on, and Keely's going, hey, look, here's a sex game. Then they're like,
they don't have nothing to say to that.
I don't think I want to mess with that girl.
They don't have nothing to say to that. Somebody asked how. I think someone said. Well, one person said, "It's having sex isn't like going to Disneyland. You're only going to do it a couple times, so you got to make the most of it." That's really funny.
That's a great way of putting it. Every time doesn't have to blow your mind.
Somebody else was talking about frequency. They were saying that they like to have sex less frequent than their spouse. Their spouse would like to have sex more often. This happens all the time, guys.
Oh, yeah.
You're not the only
mismatched drives are
we don't ever want to eat at the same time. So I'm like, I'm so hungry. And Austin's like, I'm never eating again.
I don't want to eat today.
And I'm like, bring me all the food.
Her mom used to make fun of me that I would either eat like a horse or eat like a bird. And she never knew which one to cook for.
And I always eat like a horse. I'm always like, what? It's been 3 hours, let's go again.
She and our 5-year-old can pound for pound. Forget pound for pound. They can out-eat me. Brayden will eat more pancakes than me on a Sunday morning every week. It's unreal.
He'll eat more than me.
But that's the thing, is that that's what happens, is that you get mismatched drives and things like that happen. So again, if you're going to be together that many... Even if it's not terribly frequent, even if it's not like, all right, we're having sex 2 or 3 times a day, every day, and blah, blah, blah. Even if you're not, even if you're not doing that, even if it's like, well, it's a couple times a week, or it's once a week, it's a couple times a month, add that up over the course of a lifetime of being together, it's a lot. And like somebody said in there, it's not like Disney World, where if you're going to go, I've been to Disney World once.
Every day.
Yeah, I've been to Disney World once. And you know what? It didn't blow my mind. And so it was, it was kind of a disappointment because it's the happiest place on earth. By the way, I do like the parallel about Disney being the happiest place on earth, the marriage bed being the happiest place on earth. That's the thing is, you don't have to drive to Florida and spend entirely too much money and stand in the heat and have your kids fuss at you.
Yeah.
This is just being together, okay?
It's just being
and
together.
so, if you've got vanilla, if you've got your basics, if you've got your go-to, that's fine. I think it's healthy. I think it's good that you have that thing where you can just say, okay, Busch Gardens is way better, and King's Dominion is better than Busch Gardens objectively.
Dollywood
this is not,
rocks.
Beats them all. Okay, this is not even a debate. This is objective.
I love
okay,
Dollywood.
I can tell you. But, just go into it knowing that if this doesn't work, okay, then you can say, this was terrible, so let's stop. And let's go back to what we know.
Out.
Yeah, never been to Dollywood. I'm sorry. You need to go. We can stop and go back to what we know works. Or if it's the whole session and everything's done and that's it, and that was a waste of time.
It was
there's tomorrow. There's the next time. There's whatever.
It's part of that communication where you go, hey, how was that for you? Not so good. Me either.
Yeah.
How's this working for you? No, it's not. Oh, okay.
Do you know what? All of a sudden, I'm remembering an article I read once, and it may not have even been talking about sex. It may have been talking about something else, but it said if you went to a restaurant and it was terrible, you don't go back. You just.
Yeah.
But don't never go to a new restaurant because it might be bad.
Or don't ever not eat again because you don't know if the food bad.
I went to this one restaurant and I got a terrible steak. I'm not eating anymore. That would be crazy.
What did you guys discover surprised both of you?
What things have we discovered that surprised both of us? Part of trying something new,
I think you're stepping on me.
I probably am. It's a habit. You can be in the midst of trying something new and accidentally discover something.
Oh, yeah. There have been some positions, and we're not going to describe them to you because we want to keep our marriage bed pure.
Because we're not X-rated here.
But we have definitely had this happen to us where we have tried to read these instructions for sex positions, and lacking of pictures, or you look at the picture and you're like, well, there ain't no way in the world.
Not pictures, but
diagrams. We don't look at real pictures. We look at diagrams. So if you go to Christian-friendly sex positions, they do their little diagrams over there now too. But what we have found with trying new sex positions, it's like, anatomy-wise, we're not going to make it. All right, we're different heights. I got a big butt. Please, or whatever.
Please recognize that.
Just recognize that.
Look.
Yes, we're really... huge difference.
Not everybody
I know you guys
has
can't tell
a 1
that.
foot. Yeah, there's something weird going on here about the angle.
He's literally standing 7 inches away from me.
And that's why she looks so much,
I do.
Her face is bigger in the picture there.
Bigger.
But we are a foot difference in height. And then some couples are the exact same height. Some couples, the guy is shorter. So some things are going to work for some people and not for others.
But
and
you might
that's
discover a position that you really do like.
Right.
It's like, if you're trying to position, you're like, this is just not working. Well, you're kind of already there, so try to move around. Do some pillows or, I don't know.
And by the way, that's why if you go to Christian-friendly sex positions, there are approximately 7 bazillion things on there. And some of them are like,
you gotta be
it's like that seems like the exact same position. No. In this one, you point your toe, and that makes it a whole different thing. And I'm like,
joking.
I don't know. Well, I'm exaggerating for the sake of humor. It's an attempt at. Anyways, I'll explain later. So what happens is there's these little tweaks, and they'll write it up as like a whole other thing.
So I could do
an article on one short and one tall. Yeah, that needs to be an entire category on
it's
that
like the
page.
pregnancy positions.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing. So again, try something new. And another suggestion is have a couple of things in mind.
Yeah, we get a little personal.
Yeah, have a couple of things in mind. So if you go, all right, that one failed, that one just didn't work out, then okay, let's try this other thing. So if you don't just try one and it doesn't work, and so you go back to the basics, maybe have a couple of other things. And then like Keely said, if something's not working, remember that this is your marriage, this is your intimacy. So like she said, tweak it a little bit. Tweak it just a little bit and say, okay, point the big toe and see what happens. I don't know, examine.
Yeah, I think you just have to move your body around because you are going to not be the same size, height, weight, whatever. And honestly, for a woman, and I can just speak to this, during different parts of the month, things are going to feel different.
Oh, yeah.
As you go through your cycle, I wish I knew the science behind it. Hey, if JD's on here, do some science behind this, JD.
Do some science.
He's so awesome with that kind of stuff. I'm like, JD, will you research this? What occurs is during the month, during your cycle, I don't know, things inside of you are going to shift. Things are going to be different. Things are going to feel different. Blood flow is going to be different. For a woman, what worked for you today may not work for you next time. Mm-hmm. If it didn't work today,
so guys, pay attention to that.
Today, then go, oh, well, I'm sure it's got something to do with my cycle. You might need some lubrication. And I always say, if you're trying a new position, just go ahead and get the lubrication.
Just have it.
Just go get it. Somebody says it's complicated. Yes, women is complicated. And they are very complicated when it comes to sex. And I know that's frustrating to guys, but it's just as frustrating to women because it's like, why can't I figure this out? So
again, going with patience. For crying out loud, just go slow. Guys, go slow, go easy. When you're trying something new, you don't know how things are going to end up, how things are going to work. So just go slow and talk. I think we may have mentioned that earlier, but talk. Keely did an article about...
Put your lights on. Keep your lights on.
Crying out loud. Yeah, don't try and... Oh, gosh, I didn't even think
about that.
Don't try and do that in the dark.
If anybody is still having sex with the lights off, please cut them on.
Yeah.
That is good.
So there's an article on the website about that. There's an article on the website about the other thing that you just mentioned and now I've forgotten and it's gone. I don't know.
Somebody says they've been married for 17 years. How do you talk?
Bedroom language. Bedroom
language. Open your mouth and you just say the words.
That's my job, to be snarky.
I'm just playing.
No, here's the thing: is this was something that we had to develop because especially you grow up in the church and it's just taboo. You don't talk about body parts and you don't talk about. Did anybody else ever have that rule when you were in like children's ministry or youth ministry where it was like
soft lights are great.
No cuss words and no mean words and no body part words. So we're told from a very young age, no body part words.
There is times to be appropriate. And I was taught different. My mom and dad talked very openly with me about sex.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
If you want to talk about sex in the bedroom, you got to just start those conversations at your kitchen table. Obviously with some privacy. Yeah. But start talking to your spouse outside of, not at the dinner
table, yeah.
No, not unless you're talking about sex with your kids. And I just try to share this with parents all the time. You're going to have to talk to your kids about sex. Unless you're going to be one of those parents who just feed them to the wolves. Or, you're going to start having those conversations. So to have the conversations, you've got to have it with your spouse.
Yeah. So Girly Mama just said they don't talk and they never have the lights on. So again, maybe we can find the links and maybe throw them out on the Facebook page. But there was one about bedroom language and then one about...
Yeah, you'll go to my
Periscope
probably
like two of them that talked about why you should have the lights on and why you should be able to see. And part of it is... if you're trying something new, you just need to be able to see what's going on.
Or you're going to end up hurting each other.
Yeah. The other thing is, let me just say this as a guy, is that, and again, I know there are outliers. I know that there are exceptions to what I'm going to say, but for the most part, wives, if I could just say anything, communicate. We always say that. But here's the thing. Wives, your husband loves you. Your husband thinks you are gorgeous. And your husband thinks you are hot. Okay? That is essential to marriage, and I guarantee you, if you ever try this, sit down with your husband, maybe do it on your next date. Sit down with your husband and say, "What do you think about my body? Sure. What is your overall thought? What is your favorite part? What is it that I do that really turns you on?" Because I'm going to tell you what, you might be surprised. It might not be anything, sexy. It may not be some Hollywood move. It might be, when you turn and you look at me with this face, I'm just like, wow, and it knocks me out every time.
Yeah.
But give your husband the benefit of the doubt that he loves you. He loves the way you look. And then when you sit down and you ask him that, believe him. Keely just wrote about that. Compliment your spouse and then believe your spouse when they compliment you. Yeah, you have a blog. You do know this, right? That we both write on?
Somebody says vacuuming gets her going. Absolutely. When he does the dishes, I'm like, yeah.
I'm just saying is all. And I started noticing that. So I'd be over there and I'd be like scrubbing. I'm like, how you doing?
You guys do the dishes. Hey. I'm like, hey.
Wipe down that counter, baby. Get that kitchen clean. And that's the thing.
What's up with that?
It's because I'm serving.
It's an act of service.
Yes, that's one of her love languages.
You know, it is. It's an act of service. It's like
I am touch. I am words of affirmation. She is gifts, and she is acts of service.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can listen. I can compliment her all day long, and for a long time she didn't believe me, and then for a long time she just kind of ignored it. Like, okay, great, and then she started realizing that I compliment her a lot because that's how I receive love. So she started complimenting me, and then she started believing me when
housework's a big turn on.
Yeah,
I agree.
She started believing me when I would compliment her and say thanks instead of going, you know. And so that's a big thing. Figure out, you know, what it is.
And it's not a guy-girl thing, by the way. Okay,
it's not.
I know couples where the guy is an acts of service.
Yeah.
You know, receiver, and the woman
quality
is
time. That's your other one.
Quality time. I don't know. So yeah, you got to get a new vacuum. So if your spouse's love language is acts of service, then you need to figure out what those acts of service are. So for example, in our home, I've been the primary home person. Like, I've been primarily at home. I'm even working at home and homeschooling the kids. I mean, it's still my responsibility to make sure the housework is straight. And so if Austin's going to be like, I'm going to help you do something that is primarily your role, that speaks to me. That says to me, you see what I'm doing, you value me, you care about me, and when I feel valued and cared about and respected for, you know, like, hey, I respect your time, I respect you, so I'm going to do these dishes because I know that you could be doing something else, or I want to help out. That just, you know, that's really the turn on. It's feeling loved and respected.
So we kind of chased that rabbit a little bit about love languages, but bringing it back around to physical aspects and lights on, okay? Find out from your spouse what it is that they love about your body, and then reciprocate, you know, and talk about that, and allow your spouse's attitude about your body, their love for the way that you look, to give you the confidence that you need. And I hate to say it, but sometimes it's a fake it till you make it kind of thing. Put the lights on, start talking, and if you start talking, or maybe try one and then the other. You gotta
talk before you get in the bedroom.
Yeah.
You really do.
And just be okay with it sounding dumb or feeling awkward or whatever. And so...
somebody says they have little kids, they wish I could focus them more. Just replay.
Earbuds and replays, yeah. So, did you catch that one? So...
Oh, I did read that.
Yeah, hold that.
And that's actually a different scope that we can do, actually.
Ooh, okay, write that down. We don't have paper. Business card. So here's... I was talking about something and it's gone. Talk. And just like if you're... Listen, we're talking about trying something new. That doesn't necessarily mean it's got to be a new position. It's got to be a new, outrageous, amazing, mind-blowing thing. Maybe it's... We're going to try cutting the lights on. Hey, listen, somebody said earlier, soft glow lights. You guys sometimes can see here that we've got these little, we've got Christmas lights. That's all they are, but we've got white ones and red ones, and we cut those on. And sometimes it's putting on those lights instead of just like cutting on the floodlights.
Talking feels weird. Do we try toys? I can definitely link to some of these things on lovehoopadventure.com/periscope.
Right.
So if you go to lovehoopadventure.com/periscope, I can link to all of those kinds of things.
Right. So somebody talked about the little tea light candles that have the batteries.
You should have some of those.
Yeah, a lot of them ran out of batteries. Keely loves candles. Our house is just lousy with candles. They're all over the place, which is a good thing. And she loves her little lights and those kinds of things. So maybe you just start off with a little bit of light. And, you know, some people find that soft glow light makes you look way more attractive than, like I said, a bunch of, you know, halogen lights coming on.
Well, that, and I can't stand light on my face.
No, that's a whole other
overhead
issue
light on my face. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's nothing like being blinded while you're trying to enjoy your spouse.
So distracting.
Maybe the new thing that you try is just talking. And I don't even know where you start.
But I do. Okay, somebody said, well, what do you say? It sounds so weird to talk. Well, here's what you say. That hurts. That feels good. I like that. Yeah. Do that more. Could you move over here? You're laying on my hair. You know, just
that goes into funny sex, the tutti frutti that I talked about earlier. It's like, you know, when you headbutt your spouse on accident, laugh about it. It's okay, and talk.
Yeah,
you know,
it's got to start with that practical stuff. Your hair is in the way.
Right. That's what I mean about let it feel awkward. Let it feel awkward because you're not going to start off, if you're not talking, you're not going to go immediately into, I can't think of the guy's name, the romance guy. I don't know, there's a famous character. Anyways, you're not going to go straight to, the hot talk and the sexy talk and that kind of thing. Somebody write that down too. Keep the pen.
I'll do acts of service tomorrow. If you'll come back on Scope, we're usually on around this time. I've heard this on a different
guys, if you have questions like that, please throw them out there, and we'll do our best to remember them and to address some of these things. But just talk about the basics of what's going on. Be a distraction and get out of the mood.
Somebody says,
I don't think so.
Distraction? Actually,
because
it's not.
It can. I know Keely talks about a lot of times women have an issue. Sometimes guys have the issue too. Let's not stereotype too much of keeping your head in the game. And, sometimes it happens. You're like there with your spouse, and then you're like, did I do the dishes earlier? I got this thing that at work that I've got, and all of a sudden your mind is somewhere else, and it's hard to focus. So if you are talking, then you're engaging on a whole new level. And again, I'm not saying like we need to have a full-on conversation the whole time, but just being vocal just helps out. It helps you to connect a little bit, and it brings it. Sex is much more than just the physical. We give lip service to that all the time, but I mean, is it really? Are you connecting emotionally? Are you connecting, with your communication even in the bedroom? And again, maybe Keely said you got to start talking before you get in the bedroom.
You do. You have to start talking before.
Talk about sex outside of the bedroom, not necessarily literally, but when you're not in the midst of it.
You need to paint your ceiling.
Okay. Oh, that's what he's thinking about.
Well,
he's getting caught up in sex and thinking about chores.
I just want you guys to know something. There comes a point during sex where I'm like, if either of us is talking, it is going to distract. It's like, would you, and you can get to the point where you're like, and you just got to tell your spouse that.
She tried real hard not to point a finger, too accusatorily. But that's the thing is, it doesn't have to be a full conversation during the entire time, but just
that would be very distracting.
And then again, sit down with your spouse and say, what do you find attractive about me? Sit down with your spouse and say, what about last night was really good? Or, I noticed you made this one face and it didn't seem to be a positive thing. What was that all about?
That's why I suggest y'all get the Sexy Truth or Dare game that we put together. It's free.
Boom.
Go to the newsletter page on
LoveHopeAdventure.com/newsletter.
The Sexy Truth or Dare game, I'll be honest, was not my favoriteest game.
But it's the most stinking popular.
It is the most popular. Hundreds of people come to the website every single day to look at my posts, to read that stuff, and to sign up to get the free printables. Because you know why? It asks these questions. Well, what's your favorite foreplay move? And what do you like to do when this and that? And we've had all those conversations, so it wasn't as exciting to me, but people love it.
Trike Flyer says, what? Was that like a whoop whoop? Or what?
Love Hope Adventure. If you'll go to lovehopeadventure.com, I don't know if you can see it here.
Probably not.
This is Love Hope Adventure and then .com/newsletter. Yeah. Or you can just, there is some buttons on there that say sign up for my newsletter. And go
pretty
to
much
that
anywhere
page.
on the website. Just go to lovehopeadventure.com, look on the right-hand column, and there's 3 signups, I think. Mm-hmm. One of them is for mentions conversation starters, one of them mentions another thing, and then one of them mentions...
but there's only 2 lists.
I just really have 3
signups. Go to the one for bedroom games, and it has a lot of sexy... Reading is hard, I understand. But it has a lot of sexy questions you can ask your spouse, and that's a great way to start bedroom conversations. If you're going to try new positions in the bedroom, you're going to have to be okay saying, could you move? Could you do this? This isn't working. And somebody said, well, won't that break the mood? I'm sorry, it breaks the mood if it's hurting or doesn't feel good. That breaks the mood. What's really great is when it feels good. That helps me stay in the mood. When it stops feeling good, then I'm like, I'm done.
Right.
Somebody says she's going to freak out.
So again, just
go easy.
Go into something new. Go in as a team. If it stinks, don't worry about it. If you
try something else.
Yeah, if you try something and it's not working, then go back to basics, or just know that there's going to be a next time. There's going to be a lot of next times. So just be okay with that. Grab onto your partner. We're a team. Let's go on an adventure.
Exactly. And that's about all we got for you guys today. And tomorrow, someone really asked if we could talk more about acts of service, and they were talking about why does my spouse want me to do housework when I've gone to work all day, and that kind of thing. So we'll come on and we'll talk about that tomorrow. I don't know what time. We'll try to do mornings and it's Trike Flyer. So Trike Flyer, definitely hit us up tomorrow because we'll come back on and talk about that. And
11-ish.
Well, that's the plan unless you have somewhere to be tomorrow. He's got to do things sometimes.
I can stick around.
So, anyways, we'll come back and talk about that because this is going on for a long time and we got to go do Facebook Live. So, guys, if you want to hit us up on Facebook Live on our page, Love of Adventure is our Facebook page. Somebody says, I will definitely have my spouse tune in. You know, that's always so funny. People will be like, my spouse needs to hear this. My spouse needs to read this. And what I say to you is you can't change your spouse or fix them. But I'm not saying...
But we can.
Yeah. No. I'm not saying don't give them some helpful articles, but also really keep that teachable spirit for yourself also. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, my spouse needs to be good in that area, but where can I be good too? So what articles can I read that will help me be better for them? Or tell your spouse, hey, I'm going to send you this article because I really have an issue with this. Will you send me some that will address issues you're dealing with? So that's kind of that.
Start communication.
Yeah, people will be like, what in the world?
And listen, we try, we've once or twice, we've done evening scopes so that you guys as a couple can get on. And we're here as a couple, and then you guys can watch as a couple.
So we'll probably schedule some of those because I know people can get on in the evenings sometimes after kids are in bed. So
yeah. And hey, sometimes watching other people talking about this kind of stuff can say, "Oh, we're allowed to talk about intimacy and sex and whatnot." So if you can't talk about it with your spouse, then you're never going to talk about it with anybody else. So let our boldness light your way. But we gotta go.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.